Welcome back to Library-ish, where we talk about books, libraries, and the many ways stories show up in our lives.
With Galentine's Day coming up, we wanted to talk about love stories, but not the ones that all look the same. Today's episode is all about unconventional romances.
These are books where love doesn't always follow the expected path. Sometimes the central relationship is friendship. Sometimes it's found families. Sometimes romance exists, but it's not the point of the story.
Not every love story ends in marriage. Not every meaningful relationship is romantic. And not every reader wants the same thing out of a romance.
So today, we're celebrating stories that break the rules: queer love stories, late in life love, cozy romances, and books that center connection in all its forms.
Whether you're celebrating Galentine's Day with friends, or by yourself, or just with a really good book, this episode is for you. Let's go. Galentine's Day. This is a thing that has recently entered our lexicon.
It has. I prefer it over Valentine's, honestly. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from getting candy for you to eat with your girlfriends while having, like a movie night or whatever. I mean, for Valentine's Day, because we were lucky enough to have Valentine's Day off on that Saturday. It wasn't for Valentine's Day. It was
President's Day.
President's Day.
Yes.
Yeah. So we got to have that day off. And I've got 3 daughters, which I've mentioned multiple times. And we kind of just bebopped around the house. We watched some fun movies. We had a box of chocolates. My middle daughter and I watched the movie Harvey with James Stewart, which is one of my favorites. And we had a lot of fun, just us girls just kind of hanging out and doing girl giggling and all the things that go with that.
You might be asking yourself, what exactly is Galentine's Day? Well, essentially, this is something that was born out of the internet, really, in the 1990s. I kind of remember being there. It was the 1990s. And now the origin story, as it plays out on the internet today, is that it relates to a specific episode of Parks and Recreation, season 2, episode 16. The episode was entitled Galentine's Day, where the show's lead, Leslie Knope, celebrates the holiday with a group of girlfriends. Now, that's the way the internet tells the story. As somebody who was there, I'm just going to tell, and like an adult, I'm just going to tell you that I think.
Are we adults? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, an older adult. We'll put it that way. The idea of Galentine's Day had been brewing for a while, especially as many holidays in that particular period were becoming more and more commercialized. And there was more talk of the commercialization of holidays. People were actually debating whether Valentine's Day, just like they've done with Mother's Day, how valid is this holiday? Shouldn't you be showing your appreciation for a partner throughout the entire year? And also, not everybody is partnered up on this particular day. And it can be an extreme source of depression for a lot of people that aren't like partnered up on that specific day. So people started to talk about celebrating Galentine's Day, which is essentially a day you hang out with your friends, you hang out with your buds, you hang out with your chosen family or whomever, and you treat yourself. So
it's more self-care
than
anything else at this point in time.
100%. I think this episode was really more responding to a phenomenon that was already occurring. It was in the ether for quite some time before this episode aired.
And I gotta be honest, because I'm someone that loves, I've said this before, I'm someone that loves to read romances. I do. But every once in a while, even though, love could be a part of it, you're kind of not looking for that. You're kind of looking for something a little different, something a little bit more substantial. And I remember, back when I think of, my life, not saying how long it's been, but I've had Valentine's days where I've spent them with boyfriends, and I've had Valentine's days where it's just me and my girlfriends getting together and having fun. And I tell you, 10 out of 10 times I will have more fun with my girlfriends than I will on any of those Valentine's Day where I actually had a boyfriend, doing those stuffs. And I'm just like, I prefer this.
Yes.
It's just more fun. It's just more fun to hang out with those people, know?
Well, and the performative aspect. And then, like, are you supposed to, or do you buy the candy, or do you wait?
Yeah.
Do you get them
Am I supposed to do something?
I did have one boyfriend that it turned into me buying him a stuffed animal every year, and he, like, had never had stuffed animals and became absolutely, like, was like, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Oh,
so
wow.
Then, but then it extended outside of Valentine's Day, and it was just getting him stuffed animals, like, all the time.
Yeah.
And which is fantastic, because that idea of having a little fuzzy critter, it was adorable. But it's like, it's performative when it's just one day a year, and you're like, good, we're done, we could go back to business as usual, make me a sandwich.
Get in their kitchen, make me a sandwich.
Yeah, to me, it's kind of like, then why though?
Yeah.
So the thing about the books we're going to be talking about is that these are books that are about filial affection, they're about friendship, they're about community connections, they're about family, and how much people rely on each other, depend on each other, bond with each other, regardless of what the reason is. It doesn't always have to be romantic. So some of the things, these are essentially what we're calling unconventional romances. And what do we mean by that? Again, late in life love, queer relationships, asexual or aromantic stories, love that's secondary to friendship or self-discovery, stories where the romance is part of the story, but it's not the key element of the storytelling. So these are the books that we're going to be talking about today.
It's going to be great.
Yeah. So go ahead. You give your first recommendation.
I'm going to start with Red, White, and Royal Blue. This book is it's delightful. It's great. It's a romantic comedy, and it's in this alternate universe. When I say alternate universe, I mean everything's the same as ours. It's not sci-fi, but Texas is completely Democratic, and the president of the United States is a woman. And her son is the first son as opposed to the first daughter. His name is Alex, and he's, bebopping around like, many 20-somethings do, doing his thing, being the first son. And he has this relationship, it's not friendly. It's an enemies. They don't like each other.
There are several genres of romance, and enemies to lovers
is one of them.
One of the
subgenres.
Tropes. Yes.
But with Henry, who is a prince of England, and he can't stand Henry, and he can never figure out why. He's just like, he's a pompous guy. He's this, he thinks he knows everything. I just don't like him, but the universe just keeps throwing the two together. And then when they start being friendly with one another, they realize they've got a lot in common. The banter is delightful, FYI. If you get a chance,
this was a really popular book.
It was.
It's very huge.
It's great. And I think Paradise is doing it for one of their book clubs. I think it's close to June. It's the Velvet Bookmark. But the two gentlemen realize that they have a lot in common, and they kind of slowly start to fall for one another, which brings a whole lot of, controversy, because if you're unfamiliar with the crown and the queen, at the time this was written, she was still, kicking. They don't really appreciate those alternate relationships.
No.
So it was delightful, and the characters were lovable, and I absolutely loved it, and I 100% recommend it. And it's not real smutty. Everything's really fade to black, and it was heartwarming, and I absolutely loved it. And I would 100%.
Sounds very charming.
But
No, hadn't thought about that.
Sorry,
pun not intended. Pun not
because
intended.
He's a prince.
Yeah, it took me a second, but I got it.
How do you kill a joke? You explain it. But yeah, Red, White, and Royal Blue is a fantastic read, and I 100% recommend it. And if you're one of those people where it's a thing where you're like, I've never tried a romance that isn't a traditional heterosexual romance. This is a great one to start with
Yeah.
because it really does hit all those romance boxes,
Mhm.
but it's just two very lovable male characters.
That's beautiful.
I 100% recommend it.
Love it. Love it. So my unconventional romance is going to be The Color Purple, which is by Alice Walker, and it's an absolute classic. This is a story about the lives of African American women in the early 20th century. Takes place in rural Georgia. There are two sisters named Celie and Nettie. They're separated as young girls, and essentially the story follows them throughout their lives. And there is a part of this, it shows familial love, it shows difficulties in relationships because they experience a lot of hardships throughout the entire scope of the story. But there is also an element where one of the characters falls in love with an entertainer, a jazz singer. And it is a pivotal point in the life of one of the characters. And it's just a great story to be able to learn more about female solidarity and love. It also talks about queer love as liberation because the relationship between those two characters, it's crucial to the narrative. And it represents that move toward mutual respect and sexual awakening, and in a very modern context, but also tying it up to a very classic story. And it redefines the family and what we think of as traditional family. We have a very rigid idea of how families connect with each other. And this is a story that really very much deconstructed that traditional narrative. And it's just an unmissable classic. Just something highly recommended.
A family is so much more than mom, dad, kids. So much more.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
especially nowadays where we've got blended families, we have found, I mean, I'm not even talking like literature, I'm like found families. We
Yes.
have so many in Hawaii, because I used to live in Hawaii. There were so many Hanai, they call them Hanai kind families, where you just kind of, your family develops because of where you are, and even though you don't have blood that you're sharing, your shared experiences make you family.
Yeah.
That's why on the island, all the old women are auntie, and then there's uncle, and then everyone calls each other cuz, because even if they don't share blood, they all share these experiences, and it makes them very close knit. Family is much more than mom, dad, kids.
Absolutely. And I think most of us have experienced that in one way or another. It's just not something that we necessarily always think of first thing when we think of family. And so it's a really important read. It's a way to expand
and I think that we've been
experience.
kind of, since the 50s, we've been kind of trained that nuclear family, mom, dad, kids, mom, dad, kids.
Yeah,
this
and the
is family.
2.5 children.
Yeah, but it's not like that at all.
No.
And you go anywhere else, and it isn't like that. Like I said, over in Hawaii, it's Hanaikai. It's just, it's family is so much more. And that's a beautiful book. And also, they've made that into a couple of movies and a Broadway musical, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, absolutely. So there's, and I think even that Broadway musical is probably available on streaming somewhere too.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of ways to be able to experience the story, whether it's reading it, downloading it digitally through Libby, or watching it.
I loved that jazz dancer. That character was so amazing. The moment she came on there, I'm like, oh my gosh, like the whole world lit up.
Yep.
Sugar
Sugar Avery.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
The name of the character.
Wonderful
it's amazing.
Character.
I mean, that's another thing about that character that I think is so important, is that her whole life is a celebration. And that is something that Celie has yet to experience,
So
because her life has been so difficult, and she has struggled so much. To encounter someone
more than is fair,
who just has so much joy,
right?
I mean, that joy,
the moment she came on there, it just lit everything up.
Yeah, joy
beautiful.
Is magnetic, and that's
beautiful.
That's what that's
wonderful.
about. Absolutely.
Well, to continue on to that chain, the next one I've picked is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Now, this one, it talks about film legend, and this is, back in the day, back when when the stardom was very big.
Mhm.
It's her life story that she is telling to a reporter named Monique Grant. She's now 79 years old, and she's just been one of those aging starlets where she's
Mhm.
been in the tabloids. She's and no one has her life story, and she's telling it now. It starts off with her. She's kind of dating and marrying these men to kind of climb up in
Mhm.
this scene, in this actress scene. I don't want to give too many spoilers in case no one's read this, but she settles down with one, and it turns into an abusive relationship. It
Mhm.
turns into a relationship that she doesn't need to be in. But through that, she meets in an unconventional manner, and I don't want to give too much away.
Mhm.
She meets this love of her life unconventionally, so much so that she has the strength to kind of pull herself
Mhm.
away from that
The
relationship that
abusive
she's in.
relationship,
Yeah.
amazing.
But yeah, it goes through all. And if you like Hollywood gossip, if you're just one of those
Mhm.
people that kind of sits and I like the Hollywood
Kinda
goss.
likes the Jackie Collins of it
Right?
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely pick this one up. It's been very popular on our shelves, or should I say off of our shelves. It's a great read, especially for the Hollywood, that old-timey Hollywood feel to it. The author's
Mhm.
really good at describing all these things. It's a great little read, and I actually want to connect to this. I'm cheating now. I'm adding one in addition to this by Emily Henry. Which, if you've watched this before,
We
I'm
all
so
know
sorry.
January loves
I
Emily
do.
Henry.
You've heard it
And
before, and you'll hear
and
it
in the
again.
beginning was like, would it be bad if I brought up another Emily Henry? And I'm like, look, we love who we love. We always say we're a judgment-free zone, and
Yeah,
it has to
but
start with
I
us.
love Emily Henry.
So,
This one that I'm going to talk about is kind of similar to that one in the fact it's called Great Big Beautiful Life. It's Emily Henry's most recent release.
mhm.
And it's kind of the same formula where you've got a journalist going and interviewing one of those stars from
Mhm.
the old time movies and stuff like that, and then finding out this star's life. And you find when they sit down and they interview these aging starlets, they're very big about family, very big about the people that they love. We were just talking about
Mhm.
extended family's not just that nuclear
Yes.
equation. There's more to
So
it.
much more to it.
And this one, there's a lot of different places they go with this, and it's
Mhm.
kind of a puzzle when you're reading through it to figure out this woman's life and the scandals that come with it and the secrets that come with it.
Mhm.
And there is a love story because it's Emily Henry, it's a romance. There is a love story that's kind of happening out here, out on the outskirts of it, that is going to be there, but you're right there listening to what's going on with the starlet in her
Mhm.
past and trying to figure out all these scandals and all these secrets and how this puzzle fits together. And it's just it at the end, it comes to that it's all about family.
Yeah.
It's always about family, not just romance, not just love, but what you create with it. And
Right.
that is substantial. And I absolutely love it. So both The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Great Big Beautiful Life, I would definitely recommend 100%.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'm going to talk about, because you talked about Emily Henry, because you always
I
talk about,
did.
I'm going to talk about nonfiction, because I'm always talking about nonfiction. So this is a book that focuses on friendship. And the book is called Text Me When You Get Home, The Evolution and Triumph of Modern Female Friendship. It's by Kayleen Schaefer. And essentially, this is, she's an author that she is a journalist. She's currently the bureau chief for the Wall Street Journal Arts and Entertainment Division. And she interviews more than 100 women about their best friends, their soulmates, their girl gangs, who they hang out with.
My girl
And
gang.
it traces the cultural
Mhm.
shift through from focus on marriage and
Mhm.
focus on couples to women focusing on themselves and their relationships with each other. And it's about looking at this cultural shift through the lens of pop culture.
Mhm.
So she also talks about her own experience grappling with a world that essentially expects you to rely upon men for emotional support, when really you find out very often that your strongest source of support comes from the relationships with the women around you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a very interesting look at the evolution of female relationships in real life, as well as on the screen, in movies and in other media. So, great book to be able to read if you're interested in the dynamics of female friendship. If you're wondering why things have changed, this might be a really good book for you to get some more insight on the topic.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a sweater that says, because I have 3 girls, no boys, and it says, I run a girl gang on the
Yes.
sweater. And it was recommended to me by my daughter, my oldest daughter, her best friend's mom. She's got 4 girls, no boys. And she came up to me and she's like, you should get this. And I'm like, I should get that.
Yes, indeed.
So now we run girl gangs.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
You know, when you got 3 or 4 girls, you got it. It's a gang. That's just what it is.
I mean, those
And
are
pink
the
is our
numbers.
color.
We don't make the rules.
We don't. It's just,
You know,
we just
it's
follow
just
the
the way
rules. I
it
didn't make them.
is. That's just the way it is.
Oh gosh. So the one of the books so this one we've talked about before just because of its astounding popularity. This book, for an entire year, we could not keep on the shelves. I mean, it had like 50 holds and it was just bing bang boom. It's on our shelves now because it's been a year and they've made it into a movie and they've done all the things with it. Lessons in Chemistry.
Oh yeah, huge.
Yeah, this one was really big. And this one, it starts out with Elizabeth Zott is her name. And she, every day she packs her daughter a lunch. And every day another kid at school has been eating her daughter's lunch. So she goes up to this kid's parents and she's like, if I'm going to pack 2 lunches, what does your child like to eat? What should we do here? And in talking to this father, he actually has a television station. And he realizes that she's got a talent in cooking and she's got this personality that is kind of just exciting. And so he's like, hey, let's put you on a TV show where you cook. She used to be a scientist and it goes through her life. It does. I mean,
those 2 things do dovetail.
Yeah, they do. It bebops through this timeline where she used to be a scientist in a world where only men were considered scientists and they didn't appreciate her being among them. Was she incredibly intelligent? Yes. Did she know her stuff? Yes. Did it matter? No. Because she was a woman, she wasn't accepted in that world. Yeah. And a couple of really SA instances happened that it kind of, it's ick.
So there are a couple of difficult moments.
Yeah, because she's a woman in a man's world and they don't want her there. So she goes on to this cooking show and she uses this platform to kind of advocate for what she feels is right and what she feels to be, in this world in the 1960s, where this is the time of the civil rights movement. This is the time of that we're kind of fighting to be on par. We're still kind of fighting, as a culture, but she uses this platform for the benefit of other women in this particular thing. And it's a beautiful story and she's a great advocate. And she does, when you first meet her, she's a little stilted. It's like she just kind of has that spicy personality. And when I say spicy, I mean narrow spicy personality where you can tell she's not quite used to socializing. Yeah. But she's just a delightful character. And I love the love that she has for her daughter. And I love the support she brings to other women that are trying to make it in this world. But neat. I thought that was delightful.
That's really neat. That's really cool. It was a hugely popular book.
It was very popular. We could not keep it on the shelves at all. And it actually, there's a part in there where she falls in love with a man and he asks her to marry him. This is how she got the daughter. He asks her to marry him and she says no. She turns him down because she knew that if she got married to him, she would lose her independence in a lot of ways. She would lose her individuality. She would be a part of this married couple. And there's sidetrack a little bit. Stephen King was talking. His wife had been interviewed for something because his wife is successful in her own right. And one reporter said, the wife of Stephen King. And he's like, her name's Tabitha. Would you, why do you have to refer to her as the wife of Stephen King?
Yeah.
Just, she's Tabitha.
Yeah.
Just call her by her name.
Yeah.
I think her name's Tabitha. I want to say it is. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. You know, I always love to be corrected.
There you go.
But
engage.
Yeah, engage. But yeah, it's because she knew once she got married, she would lose that piece of herself. So she's like, no, I don't want to marry you.
Mm-hmm.
But she found out, this might be a little spoiler, I'm so sorry. She found out that she was pregnant after he had passed. And she was raising this daughter on her own. So that, you know, when this kind of thing happened, she's like, okay, if your kid's going to eat my kid's meals, what should I make?
Exactly. I might as well cook for them at that point. Makes sense.
You know, so it's Lessons in Chemistry. It's a beautiful book. We couldn't keep it on the shelves for an entire year. We have it on the shelves now. Make a hold for it. Come in and get it. We're happy to talk to you. We're happy to see you. If you didn't like this, let me know. I want to know. I want to read the comments.
We like to know all the things.
Engage with me.
So my final one is about secondary love. Now, where the story takes place and there is a love story involved, but the love story is secondary to the plot. And that is Dashiell Hammett's The Thin Man.
Ooh.
Now, Nick and Nora Charles are to me, that's the quintessential couple. Mm-hmm. Absolutely 100%. Basically, he is a Prohibition era detective, and he's retired, and he's got this wife. And at first you kind of think, oh, well, it's just a guy and his wife. But these books are absolutely not written this way. There is a series of them. She is absolutely instrumental to him being able to do what he does, which is investigate cases for friends and so forth. People keep pulling him out of retirement in humorous ways. And she is, in every sense, his equal in these stories. And is not just a little wifey staying at home or whatever. And they frequently joke about gender roles within the marriage throughout the book. So it was a very famous series of films starring William Powell and Myrna Loy. But the books are absolutely a time capsule of what that period of 1930s New York in particular or Eastern Seaboard was like. And it's just such a great story. And they're a great couple. And they're definitely a couple, but they're not romantic in any way that is conventional. And it is a major part, the relationship is a major part of the mysteries that are contained within the novels. But it's not, the novel itself does not hinge on the relationship. It's just the unconventionality of the relationship, of this being a married couple that's very much in love, but very untraditional in the way we think of a married couple. Highly recommend, and they're good fun. They're just fun reads.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
As we wrap up today's episode, we hope this reminded you that love stories don't have to look one specific way to be meaningful.
Friendship, chosen family, second chances, self-discovery, these are all love stories too. And libraries are full of them.
If none of the traditional Valentine's Day picks feel right to you, that's perfectly okay. There are so many books that reflect real, complicated, and joyful connections.
And if you're ever not sure what you're in the mood for, your local library is a great place to start and ask. Reader's Advisory is one of our absolute favorite things.
I love it. Thanks for celebrating Galentine's Day with us.
Until next time, keep reading, keep recommending books to your friends, and we'll see you next time on Library-ish. Bye!
Bye.